Hi, today I'm going to talk about your rights and your employer. Recently I've had some discussions and arguments with different libertarians out there saying things like their employer doesn't have a right to check their Facebook account, their employer doesn't have a right to record their emails or monitor them, or even some to the extreme of saying I have a right of free speech, all of these different things, and they keep asserting these claims of a right. What they're forgetting is that their employer also has a right, and that employer has the right of enforcing a contract. When you are employed in a job, you sign a contract agreeing to certain terms, and in return for those obeying those terms and for providing the service, you're compensated for your time. If you don't like it or you don't like those terms, that's your opportunity and obligation to find better employment that fits your desires. Now, specifically referencing privacy. A lot of people feel like their employer doesn't have a right to monitor their behaviors on their work equipment, their computer at work, to be monitored by camera, that sort of thing. And that's or have their cubby checked or whatever that may be. That's simply not true. Typically, in most contractual agreements with an employer, you agree to allow them to monitor you, to allow them to monitor your behaviors, especially on company time and on company property. You don't have any right. You signed an agreement saying that my time belongs to you for this amount of money. That means that they technically own that time unless you're going to go find a new job. Now, if your contract doesn't specifically state that they have a right to do something, then clearly they don't. But if it does, then you have agreed to that terms, and if you don't like it, you can leave. The other part is recognizing that you do, in fact, actually owe your employer your absolute best effort. You have agreed in an interview process, committing often to being the best performer, to working hard, those sort of things. And if you do anything other than actually attempt to do that, you're essentially robbing that employer. So I always hear a lot of people, I think everybody's done this, including myself, where you take a break that wasn't approved, or that's during paid time. And if you really think about that, if it goes beyond the spectrum of what your employer allows for unapproved breaks, you are committing a form of theft from that employer. It isn't there's such much an assertion of your personal right, but you need to recognize that part of a personal right comes the responsibility to honor your contracts and honor your obligations. So that's just something to keep in mind when you think about your rights with your employer. You have a right to change your employment at any time. That is your right. But until you decide to exercise that right, you are obligated to honor the terms of your agreement.